Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's interview. Today, I'm sitting down with Phil Marsh. We are sitting and chatting about the upcoming Mount Airy Moonshine and Racers reunion. It's happening September 11th in Mount Airy. Guests include Bobby Allison, Rex White, Don Miller, and so many more people. Phil, how are you doing today?
Doing just fine, just fine. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm super excited to be chatting with you. Like I was saying the other day, I found out about this event, and I love getting to learn more about it. And I'm happy to get to share it, and hopefully get some of our listeners to come out and enjoy some history and learn a little bit about the great sport we love, auto racing. Um, I guess jumping into it first, Phil. How did you first get involved with auto racing?
You're talking about more or less not this event, but how I got started in general, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, when I was a teenager, of course, my dad was a big race fan. He was a dedicated race fan.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was 15, 16, I started working on old cars, and uh, that's how I got. That's how I got started, and interested in it, and I fooled with drag cars for many years. And which I'd go to races and things like that. My dad went to quite a few, and well, ever since then, I'm still working on old cars. Right now, I'm working on a '55 Chevrolet I bought some time back up north, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on it.
I feel like that's a habit you just can't break. Is tinkering on race cars. Once you get into it, you can't break that habit.
Now it sort of gets in your blood. Is what
Mm-hmm.
it does.
So back in
What's
2019, y'all hosted the first Moonshine and Racers reunion. How did the idea first come about to host the event?
Well, several years ago, before we started this event, Bill Blair came up and got in touch with me and Gail Hull,
Mm-hmm.
which her dad owns the bottom and the land where the racetrack is at, and they still own it where the racetrack is today. And we was talking about it, and we met with Bill several times, and we discussed it, and for the history of that in Surrey County. And then after they showed me some pictures of the old racetrack and how many people was there, I couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I know my dad went, but well, that was a little bit hard for me to remember back then because I was born in '47 and the track was in '46.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know I heard my dad talking about it. But I couldn't believe at the cars and the traffic how far it was backed up on Highway 89 getting into this racetrack. So we decided right then that this would be a good thing to do for that area, Surrey County,
Mm-hmm.
because it's history. It's all
Yeah.
about history.
Yeah, I
So then,
think I was speaking with Mr. Bill the other day, and that's what I was saying. The thing about like auto racing is there's so much history that it's not like you can have one event or invite 10 drivers to it, and now you've covered the whole sport. You have hundreds of people out there that all have their own part in the sport, and I think that's what's cool is just how big the event was and how big the event is. With it coming back this year.
right.
So the
Uh,
I was gonna ask the Mount Airy Speedway. So when did that track close down? Because it's closed, correct?
yes, I think it went on into '47,
Okay.
and there was some dispute between the ones at that time that owned the land and was doing that was, looking after the racing part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Charlie Hull and his brother Howard, they ended up buying the land, which they got a pretty good sized farm through there.
Mm-hmm.
And well, there's not been any racing on it since, but it's the thing about it is it's going back to history.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we got so interested in it. Said, look, we need to do this.
Yeah.
So we got started in it, and like I said, last year, because of COVID, we had to cancel the event, which really here in that area we canceled all events.
Yeah.
Which, well, I hated to do that, but we didn't have no choice.
Yeah.
But it looks like this year, the way it's going right now, it's going to be twice as big as the first one.
Yeah.
Well, I know it is. I think we done got 80, 90 cars, race cars coming. So we'll have a street full of cars.
Now, at the first one from 2 years ago, did you have a favorite moment, either a favorite car or a favorite driver, or just even a story that you heard at the event that just really stuck out to you?
I guess what really sticks out is when you go back to the history of it. Then it starts out with the old moonshiners. That's what I guess really, brings it out. And a lot of people don't realize how it really got started.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what makes it so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I went from moonshining to stock car racing. And I talked to several of them, and, Bobby Allison, I used to go to races and watch him a lot, which was Cale Yarborough, Junior Johnson, a lot of them, that was, but I went to a lot of races back years ago, and I really enjoyed it because these guys back then had to drive these cars.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I liked about the shorter tracks. They're all well experienced, but to me, going back in history, I liked it better.
Yeah.
I liked the shorter tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, they had to drive these cars.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't just aim them.
Yeah.
You still got to be good and experienced at it, but back then it was an entirely different thing. It was just entirely different racing.
So this year, you have a Wall of Fame being added. Can you tell us a little bit about who will be featured on the wall, as well as like what exactly is the Wall of Fame that's being added?
Okay, the Wall of Fame is it's a building. It's right here on Main Street, and there's an alleyway. There's an alleyway that goes from Main Street to the parking lot. To a parking lot in the back behind the buildings. It's sort of like a walkway entrance. Well, I own that building. So me and Bill Blair brought it up, and we was talking about it, and he said he'd like, would we be interested in doing something like that? And I thought, well, that's a good idea. So he mentioned the little park is on down on West Pine Street there, right on the corner. And there was already some benches and things there for people to sit. And I told Bill, I said, I don't think that the city would probably go along with that there on account of we'd have to put up signs and different things there. And I got to thinking, and I told Bill, I said, come up here, let's walk up here at this alleyway. I said, I own this building here, and it's a good-sized building. I said, we'll just put it right here on this building. And he loved the idea because the windows on one side when they remodeled the store, they closed in the bottom windows, and they're framed in, and they got panels in them. So what I'm going to do is we had a sign made, and we'll put it up above the panels on the wall, and it's made out of metal. It was cut out of metal. It's letters. It's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And in those panels, we will put the drivers' names, and then we'll have a section of panels for the ones that was like started out
Mm-hmm.
as moonshiner, as Hall Moonshine, and we'll put those in certain panels, and we'll put a little history about it, and probably some pictures and a few things like that, so that people can give them something to look at, and it'll be interesting when we get it done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds really cool when it was being explained to me, and I know even Mr. Blair was, he's talking about how there's only so many people that can make it into the the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and there's so many people that have made an impact on the sport that will never make it into the Hall of Fame, or have recognition here and there, and I know even with this interview series, there's people we've interviewed who are champions. There's also people who their average finish might have been 20 or 25th in the sport, but they still have such a history of how they helped out with this team, or how they learned this, or how even today they're helping. And to me, that's what's so cool, is how we get to honor people who may not have had that recognition from the general fan population.
Well, that's true, but this way, if you visit Mount Airy, and then we get this Wall of Fame done, you'll be able to see those drivers' names up there. And even though if you didn't make the Hall of Fame, you had to have some competition to have racing. So we just felt like it give everybody a chance to have their name up. And it'll be good for the town, for people to come and see. And it is history for this county.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's going to make it so great.
So Mount Airy, it's a great place for tourists. Me and my wife, we went there earlier this year, and we loved the area. What's your favorite place to visit in Mount Airy? Or if a tourist is listening right now, what would you recommend them checking out while they're in the area?
Well, if you come in the area, we got squad car tours, and they'll take you to the Granite Quarry. They'll take you by Andy Griffith's home, and they'll bring you to Main Street. They'll take you through different sections of town, and they'll go over with you, different things of what happened, and that back in the early years, and they'll take you down to the old courthouse. That's where the squad car tour is. And we got a lot of great places to eat. It's really a nice town. I mean, people are friendly. The people are friendly, and it's not throwing off on it, but it's not like going up north somewhere to these big cities. I mean, you can sort of come here, you can walk the streets and enjoy yourself, and everybody I've talked to it's came here has really loved it. And the people are friendly. So, I mean, it's a great place to visit.
Well, that's awesome.
Like I said, you got Main Street, you got Barney's, you got Leon's, you got the Loaded Goats, you got Micassa's. There's restaurants all over the place. And they're great places to eat. Got ice cream shops, just different things on Main Street, and gift shops and different things. People are friendly. You can have a good time. And got the museum. It's a great place to visit. It tells you about a lot of history. It's just so many things that you can do here, really.
Man, I feel like I'm gonna have to get my get a notebook out and a pen and start writing down some of these restaurants. Because what I'm getting at is like I'm gonna come prepared to look around, but also to eat a lot of good food. So I'm gonna have to get ready for that when we visit. But
Right, and then too on Main Street, we also got the Old North State Winery.
mm-hmm.
They got a restaurant inside, and they got their own vineyards. They make their own wine, and they sell it there. And if you go on down the street, they got another little winery shop, Uncorked. So I mean, that's getting to be a big thing in this area too, is vineyards. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot going on around here, and it just we got several vineyards out through the county too. So it's things to do, places to visit, and you'll really enjoy yourself.
Well, I know for us, one thing that's cool about this event is that for me, I'm a lifelong race fan, and for my wife, she's a very casual race fan. Both of us are super excited for the event. So to me, that's when you're doing something right. When you have, this is something that you can be the most diehard race fan and you'll enjoy yourself, or you can just be a casual fan or someone that just enjoys getting out of the house and going to a nice little event. And there's something there for everyone, which I feel like is really really cool about this event.
Right. And I know the first year we done it, some of the guys told me, he said, Lord, then my fingers is numb. I've signed so many autographs. I thought, well, that's great. But there's line, you wouldn't believe it, there's a line way down the street.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
So that was good. That was good.
Well, for the people listening, you can definitely learn more information on Facebook. There's the Mount Airy Moonshine and Racers Reunion, as well as visit mayberry.com. Can answer any questions for people out there, and we're looking forward to being out there. And just thank you so much for hosting this event, and allowing fans like myself to learn more about the history of this sport, but as well as giving an opportunity, like we said, to these racers to be able to get out and tell their story and get to meet fans again. To me, it's cool when you see these old racers that they light up when they start telling you stories, and it's like I tell people it's like you're walking into a time machine, because there's so many old racers that tell stories, and next thing I know, I feel like I'm there in the 70s, or whatever, from just them telling the story.
And too, like people to know, we see the Downtown Business Association is the one that we put this on, and that's what I'm president of, and have been for many years on a lot of events we do. But it's not about whether we don't do this. I want people to know we don't do this to try to make money.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about money. It's about the history and about the community.
Yeah.
For example, the first year we have to feed the drivers. I mean, the drivers that comes and does autographs, we set up and we furnish their dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first year we had a church to do it, and when the day was over, we told them to figure out how much it cost, and we paid them.
Mm-hmm.
We paid them. We paid the church to do it. And this year, we're going to give it to the Boy Scouts. So they're going to serve the drivers their food,
mm-hmm.
and we'll pay them. And we'll pay them. So that's the way we sort of try to operate.
Yeah.
We just want everybody to be happy, have a good time, and it's like I said, it's not about money.
Mm-hmm.
It's about history.